So here is the telescope then, fully assembled. Just so I get it all into full field of view. Pardon me. The first thing about this that I noticed that I don't like are the legs are very, very thin. They're not going to take much by way of a gust out there. They're not very robust. That's one problem with this telescope, you can see straight away. The other thing as well, if I draw your attention to it, is this camera type of tripod here. Because to be able to target this anyway, you're going to have to loosen that handle, tighten up the handle. I know some do use this kind of thing, but it's very difficult to be able to keep any object in field of view with a mount like this, because what you're having to do is continue playing around the moving knobs to orient the telescope anywhere. Also, not only that, but I don't think it's the case with this one. There's your objective lens down there. Some of these have got like a donut around the edge, which kind of stop down the aperture. So instead of saying you've maybe got a 50mm telescope, you've maybe bought yourself 30. So again, that's a problem with these. Also, if I come all the way over here, the finder, it's just got literally two nuts in to hold the assembly on there. There's no way to adjust this, because with any finder, and also it's a very small finder as well. I mean, you can compare the width of my finger to that. It's very small indeed. So you've got a problem there with that, and of course trying to find anything through it is going to be quite difficult as well, because it's just literally a narrow tube. So you've got no ability really to find anything with this. There's no at least any adjustment nuts here. You'd usually have at least 3 nuts that you've seen in my other videos to orient the finder better. You can see just by me touching it just how unstable that is. I've had a look down the eyepiece as well, and at first glance it does seem like a reasonable field of view down there, a reasonable sort of eyepiece, but unfortunately, as you can see, I've been trying to focus out the window and I'm unable really to see anything. It's not focusing as such. That's with the star diagonal in there. Also with the star diagonal, one I'm on the topic, a good one will be a prism in that, to reflect the light that comes down the refractor and up the eyepiece, but the cheaper ones will contain just a mirror. And the problem with that is with any mirror you'll get the effect of double vision, so sort of double images, because the image will reflect internally off the inside plate of the mirror a couple of times before you see it. That's the draw tube, and as you can see it's not very smooth trying to come out. In fact, it takes a bit of effort to, so if you've got that on the moon or something, that's going to be affecting the ability to target that properly. So I mean, those are some of the problems that you find with these telescopes. The ones which just are sold as astronomical telescopes but just not up to standard. You know, and I'd pity anybody who bought this, because you know, as I say, if you go outside it's not going to be very resistant to the wind. You can see that the tripod is very weak indeed. Can't really see much in the daytime with it, and that's what I'd say try. See if you can see anything during the day, see if you can align the finder, and also what sort of mount is it. I mean, bearing in mind that obviously it's a gazing telescope, I suppose, to be fair, so you're going to literally get it on the moon for a couple of seconds, focus, look at the beautiful craters floating by, and then try again till you try something else. But if you want a bit more than that, then this is probably better off for terrestrial stuff really. It isn't easy to move at all, and these camera tripod kind of things that they're putting astronomical telescopes on, you know, bearing in mind that the Earth moves all the time through rotation, it's going to make following anything through the night sky very difficult indeed. I mean, to be fair, I started off with a telescope like that and I got a huge amount of joy out of it. Managed to see the moon, Mars, Jupiter with it. It was a gazing telescope, which meant I had about 2 seconds to enjoy the vista as it went across the eyepiece. But as you go on, you're going to want more than just that. I mean, for a telescope here, quite frankly, the only reason I bought it is a demonstration to show people just what garbage there is out there. I paid only a tenner for it. I won't say from where, but this is indicative of the kind of rubbish people purchase, and you know, for astronomy, and you know, it's I just wanted to sort of waste my £10 so people watching this didn't waste any more of their money. So there it is. This is the basics of a rubbish beginner's telescope, and hopefully give you a couple of pointers. So what you want to look for is a more robust tripod than that. I mean, fair enough, every tripod you get is going to be knocked around a little bit in the wind. You can't really get around that. So that's one thing that you need to sort of be aware of, but that's just flimsy. And of course, obviously, make sure you can focus on it during the day. You know, if you're buying it, can you take a look at it? Can you see if you can focus on something? And is it easy to focus? What about the finder? Does the finder latch onto something easily so the other telescope can follow it? These are things you want to be looking at, and it's a difficult thing to indeed, because depending on where you are, depending on the brand of telescope, depends on really how good it's going to be. But this one here, I actually pleaded with the manufacturer that the actual shop telling them they were selling rubbish and these telescopes weren't up to the job as far as astronomy was concerned. And this is the first time I've had it out of the box really for this video. So here we are. Pardon me. Basics of what a rubbish telescope is, and how to avoid them. One more thing before you go as well is a lot of eyepieces about 1.25 inches in diameter around the barrel. That is less than that, and that's a plastic one. So if you wanted to upgrade it, you couldn't take this eyepiece anywhere. In fact, probably you wouldn't want to. It really is. Let me just take a quick look, because I don't think you see it too well on the video. That's just 12mm on the eyepiece barrel. You can't see that too easily now, I don't think. But so 12mm into the focal length of that would give you the magnification. So that should be sort of a mediocre sort of thing, really. Yeah. But again, it's not particularly great. There's your star diagonal, it slots into there. Usually these telescopes you have to put it into the star diagonal rather than straight down the barrel, which to be fair makes for easier observing. But again, if your star diagonal was rubbish in the first place, then that's going to give you less of a pleasurable experience. Another thing you might notice with some of these, grab the dust cap. There's the dust cap off of it, and some of these have got a secondary push out cap inside, and that's for things like observing the moon, because obviously for bright objects like that you don't need so much light coming down the actual telescope, so you can stop the aperture down. And you know, also for doing solar projections. I mean, I'm going to have to say now, you know, never observe the sun directly with any optical device. You could seriously harm your eyesight for life, or even damage or even blind yourself. But with this, you know, if you had a stop down cap in there, you could potentially put it over the top, project the sun's image through it onto a piece of paper, taking the finder scope off as you do so, and again that allows less light through, and potentially gives you longer observing time. But that thing, I think if I pointed it at the sun, I'd quite likely probably melt the optics. It really is a part of yeah. Anyway, that's a brief introduction to you on what a rubbish telescope is. Sorry it's taken so long to record it. I've only just now managed to get some peace and quiet. But I hope that's informative to an extent, and on behalf of Astronomy Courses, I'd like to thank you for watching.